Good morning, folks. So, we've talked about suited and booted today, by the way, and I'll tell you why. We've talked about the importance of goal setting. We've talked about the how to goal set and how to keep on track. But what we've not talked about so far is the considerations of the fear and roadblocks that will hold you back. So it's important to understand that as soon as you get set a goal, three things are going to emerge and that stop people in their tracks, but not you this time. If you know these three things are simply part of the process, then you can treat them for what they are, just things to handle, rather than letting them stop you. These three obstacles to success are considerations, fears, and roadblocks. Think about it. As soon as you say you want to double your income next year, within moments of the considerations, such as, I'll have to work twice as hard to get that. I won't have time for my family. My wife's going to kill me. Begin to emerge out the back of your mind. That wee voice in your head starts to talk to you and starts to try and put you off. You might have thoughts that say, my territory is maxed out. I can't see how I can possibly get buyers on my current route to buy any more product from me than they are just now. If you say you're going to run a marathon, you might hear the voice in your head saying, you might get hurt. You have to get up 2 hours early in the morning just to train every day. It might even suggest you're too old to start running. These thoughts are called considerations. They're all the reasons why you shouldn't attempt a goal, all the reasons why it's impossible to achieve. But surfacing these considerations is actually a good thing. They've been there in your subconscious mind, stopping you all along, your whole life. Now that you've brought them into your conscious awareness, you can deal with them, confront them, and move past them. Fears, on the other hand, are feelings. You may experience the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of making a fool of yourself. You might be afraid of getting physically or emotionally hurt. You might be afraid that you'll lose all your money that you've already saved. These fears are not unusual. They're all just part of the process. Knowing that in advance helps you move through them. I know an investor, and I've told them time and time again with the best property to buy, and they go ahead and do it, and then they pull out, because I think these fears are coming into their mind all the time. When it's a dead cert, I'd buy it myself, but I'm letting them buy it first. It's crazy. It's guaranteed income. It's a guaranteed strategy. Finally, you'll be aware of the roadblocks. These are purely external circumstances, well beyond just thoughts and feelings in your head. A roadblock may be that nobody wants to join your project or with you. A roadblock might be that you don't have all the money you have to move forward just now. Perhaps you need other investors. Roadblocks might be the state or the national government's rules or laws that prohibit you from what you want to do. Maybe you need a petition to the government to change the rules. I have been going on at the government about the housing rules just now in the background. Sue Lichtman, a business turnaround expert, took over a well-known shoe company in Maine in America. And it was such a bad shape financially, it was virtually doomed to go out of business. The business owed millions of dollars to its creditors and was short of $2 million needed to pay them. As part of the proposed turnaround, Stu did negotiate the sale of the unused plant near the Canadian border, which would bring the company around $600,000. But the state of Maine had a charge on the plant, which would mean they'd take all the proceeds. In other words, they were first in line for the debt. So Stu went to the governor of Maine to inform him of the company's dilemma. We can either go bankrupt, he said, in which case nearly 1,000 Maine residents will soon be out of work on unemployment rolls, costing millions of dollars to the government. Or the company could be alive, helping to keep the state's economy going, keeping nearly 1,000 people employed and turning the company around in preparation for the takeover of another company. But the only way to achieve this goal, to overcome it, you guessed it, the roadblock, was the state's charge on the plant. So instead of letting the charge stop him, Stu decided to talk to the person who could remove that roadblock. And then the governor decided to cancel the charge on the property. Of course, you may not encounter roadblocks that require you to approach a governor. But then again, depending on how large your goal is, you very well might. Roadblocks are simply obstacles that the world throws at you. It rains when you're trying to put on an outdoor concert. Your wife doesn't want to move to Kentucky or anywhere else. You don't have the financial backing you need, and so on and so forth. Roadblocks are simply real-world circumstances that you need to deal with in order to move forward. They're just things that you'll need to handle. Why do you think I'm sitting in my suit and tie? Because I'm not going to let them stop me. Most people will be still on their holidays for 2 weeks, as most of my employees are. But I know if I do today what others will not, I will achieve tomorrow what others will not. I've got various charities I still want to keep going. I want more people to be employed. I want more income to come in so I can fund all these projects and causes. This is why I do what I do. And this is why I'm prepared to get up and do things that other people are not prepared to do to make that happen. Remember about your dream. It has to be bigger than your obstacles. And then you move forward all the time. You get up every day, you punch the air and you go, thank God for today. Let's get on with it. Unfortunately, these considerations, fears, and roadblocks come up most of us when we see the stop sign. They say, now that I'm thinking that, feeling this, and finding out about that, I think I won't pursue this goal after all. That's usually what happens typically. But I'm telling you not to see these considerations, fears, and roadblocks as stop signs, but rather as normal part of the process that will always appear in whatever you're doing day to day. 95% of us let us hold us back. Let that hold us back. 5% don't let that hold us back. Therefore, we move on. There will always be a 95% group and a 5% group. You have to decide which one you want to be in. I know which one I want to be in. When you remodel your kitchen, you resign yourself to a little dust and disturbance and pay the price that you want to pay for that remodeled kitchen. You simply learn to deal with it, don't you? It's the same true considerations, fears, and roadblocks. And it's the same thing. You just have to learn to deal with them. In fact, they're supposed to appear. If they don't, it means you haven't set your goal big enough to stretch you to grow. That means there's no real potential for self-development. Learn to welcome these considerations, fears, and roadblocks when they appear, because many times these are things that are holding you back in life and will allow you to move on. Once you can see these subconscious thoughts, feelings, and obstacles, once you're aware of them, you can face them and process them and deal with them. When you do, you become better prepared for the next venture you want to undertake. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about the mastery of goal setting and setting goals.